When Apple TV Plus's Invasion introduced a brand new alien species in Episode 7, many fans hoped that the show was finally gearing up for something truly exciting. Unfortunately, Episode 8 proves that the series still struggles to balance slow-burn mystery with meaningful payoff. But despite that, this episode gives us one of Mitsuki Yamato's most emotional and complex arcs yet, one that could completely redefine the human-alien relationship moving forward. Let's unpack everything that happened, from the shocking Infinitas cult subplot to Mitsuki's bizarre bond with the so-called gardener alien, and break down that ambiguous ending that might mark a turning point for the series. Mitsuki's solitary mission in the Dead Zone. Episode 8 picks up right where the last one ended, with Mitsuki deep inside the eerie, silent Dead Zone, watching an alien she hasn't seen before. The creature doesn't look like the usual hunter-killers we've seen. It's calmer, slower, and seems purposeful. Later, it's referred to as a gardener, and that name ends up making perfect sense. Mitsuki watches it carefully, realizing that it's not hunting, not attacking, but planting. It's spreading small pod-like fruits across the barren land, like it's preparing soil for something to grow. That discovery completely shifts her perspective. She remembers her earlier encounters with the aliens in Season 2, how when she screamed at one of them about destroying Earth, it didn't even seem to comprehend what she meant. Back then, she assumed it was manipulation. Now she starts piecing together a darker but strangely logical truth. These aliens aren't here for revenge or conquest. They're just trying to survive. They're building a new ecosystem on Earth, transforming it into a home they can live in. Humans, animals, everything else, they're just collateral damage in that process. That realization hits Mitsuki hard. She came here to destroy the hive mind, to end the invasion once and for all. But suddenly, the moral lines start to blur. Are they really enemies, or are they just refugees of a lost world trying to find a new one? Into the cave, trust and survival. Mitsuki decides to follow the gardener, hoping it'll lead her straight to the mothership. But as the creature moves deeper into the forest, it eventually enters a cave, forcing Mitsuki to turn on her flashlight. The sudden light startles the alien, and things get tense fast. It reacts defensively, sending out sharp pulses of energy from what look like antennae on its head. The whole cave shakes, and the sound reverberates like a scream. But instead of panicking, Mitsuki realizes something important. It's scared too. The creature isn't attacking, it's trying to protect itself. Mitsuki's neural dampener, the device on her neck that blocks out alien communication, prevents her from being overwhelmed by the hive mind signals. But every time she feels the alien's pulse, there's a part of her that wants to take it off, to connect. That internal conflict is the episode's emotional core. She's fighting not just aliens, but herself. When the cave eventually collapses, both she and the gardener are trapped, the aliens badly injured, and in a moment that surprises even her, Mitsuki decides to help. She props up the creature, helps it climb toward a crevice where it can escape, but only if it promises to help her too. At first, the gardener doesn't seem to understand, but then, unexpectedly, it extends one of its long, vine-like tentacles and helps pull her up. It's a quiet, powerful moment. Two beings who were supposed to be enemies saving each other's lives. There's only one problem. Mitsuki's oxygen tank and mask get left behind in the cave. Now, she's forced to breathe the toxic air of the Dead Zone.
The crashed aircraft and the first clues of death. Out in the open again, Mitsuki keeps following the gardener, but the air is already affecting her. Every breath burns. She soon stumbles upon the wreckage of a downed WDC aircraft, clearly a recent crash. Inside, she finds the pilot, hanging from a tree, parachute tangled in the branches. It looks like the pilot died not from the impact, but from the air itself. Black veins crawl out from her mouth and eyes, proof that the toxic fumes of the Dead Zone are lethal even in small doses. Mitsuki realizes she's on borrowed time. She scavenges what she can from the pilot's backpack, desperate for oxygen or tools. But before she can move on, she's interrupted by a voice. The cult of Infinitas. A man appears, calm but menacing, telling Mitsuki not to pity the pilot. According to him, she got what she deserved for trying to kill God. That one line instantly gives away who he is, a member of Infinitas, the same fanatical group that worships the aliens, believing they're divine beings sent to purify Earth. Before Mitsuki can react, more members surround her. They blindfold her and drag her through the forest, taking her to their camp hidden within the dead zone. Once there, she's thrown into a chamber containing 2 hunter-killers, and it's clear what the cultists expect to happen. But instead of being torn apart, Mitsuki does something extraordinary. She freezes the creatures with a single command, using her deep understanding of their language and neural signals. That moment shocks everyone. The group's leader, Carmichael, immediately calls her in for questioning. Carmichael and Conrad. Power in the dead zone. Carmichael and his second-in-command, Conrad, run the Infinitas scouting group like a twisted spiritual commune. Carmichael calls himself a prophet, but he's physically frail, constantly hooked up to a personal oxygen tank. He claims he needs it to stay clear-headed for God, but the truth is more pathetic. He's addicted to it. Conrad, meanwhile, is the real muscle behind the operation. He's loyal for now, but it's clear he's just waiting for a reason to seize power. Mitsuki quickly sees through their power dynamic. Some of the members look sick, desperate for air. One even tries to inhale from Mitsuki's stolen oxygen canister, only for Conrad to violently stop him. Carmichael, however, always has enough oxygen for himself. When Mitsuki gets a private audience with Carmichael, she finally learns his story. He's not just a zealot, he's a grieving father. He lost his daughter Monica years ago, and that loss drove him into Infinitas. He truly believes that by following the aliens, he'll be reunited with her. But deep down, he doubts. He's afraid that breathing the toxic air will make him lose his memories, and in turn, lose the last pieces of his daughter. That's why he clings to his oxygen tank. It's not about faith, it's about fear. Mitsuki tries to use this to her advantage. She tells him that the aliens aren't gods, that they're manipulators, using humans to terraform the planet. But Carmichael doesn't budge, so Mitsuki takes matters into her own hands. Mitsuki's brutal escape. Tied up and left under guard, Mitsuki quietly unties herself, a skill she's perfected through years of training. Then in one of the show's most intense moments, she flips the tables on Carmichael. When she confronts him again, she doesn't beg or argue. She kills him, slowly, deliberately, leaving him hanging with the same rope that had restrained her. It's a dark moment that mirrors her emotional descent. She's no longer the hopeful scientist from season 1. She's a survivor, willing to do anything to reach her goal. Conrad finds Carmichael's body and instantly takes over leadership of the group, slitting the throat of another desperate member in the process. The cult has a new ruthless commander, and Mitsuki has made a dangerous enemy. She escapes into the forest again, wounded but determined.
The gardeners return. Bleeding from a gunshot wound, Mitsuki somehow finds the gardener again. The creature is barely alive, lying on the ground, its blue blood soaking into the soil. Mitsuki, despite everything, refuses to leave it behind. She urges it to get up, to keep moving toward the mothership. It's unclear if she's helping it for tactical reasons or because she genuinely feels empathy. But either way, she's changed. As they travel, Mitsuki collapses from the toxic air, gasping for breath. Then the alien does something astonishing. It takes one of its strange fruits, the same kind it had been planting earlier, and squeezes the liquid into her mouth. Instantly, she revives. The fruit's fluid neutralizes the poison in her body, allowing her to breathe again. In that moment, it's no longer human versus alien. It's life, helping life survive. Life, death, and the alien resurrection. Eventually, they reach a clearing in the forest, but the gardener can go no further. It collapses, dying from its wounds. Mitsuki kneels beside it, exhausted, bleeding, broken. But then, something miraculous happens. Dozens of other gardeners appear, glowing faintly in the mist. They gather around the dying one, touching it, humming in sync. The air shimmers with energy, and suddenly, the fallen alien begins to heal. They bring it back to life. For the first time, Mitsuki witnesses something profoundly emotional, a collective act of compassion. She sees unity, connection, and purpose. Things that humanity has been losing in its endless war. She looks up at the mothership and whispers one word, home. It's a tiny line, but it says everything. At that moment, Mitsuki's entire mission fractures. She no longer knows what's right. The aliens, for all their destruction, show a kind of harmony and empathy that humans have long forgotten. Maybe the true enemy isn't the aliens. Maybe it's humanity's inability to coexist. The ending. Has Mitsuki turned? As Mitsuki drops the backpack containing the shard bomb, it's clear she's made a decision, or at least she's questioning everything. But she doesn't get long to think. Her blood loss is too great. She collapses to the ground, vision fading, as the gardener aliens slowly surround her. They don't attack. They don't harm her. Instead, they reach out. The final image shows Mitsuki's body bathed in the same soft blue glow that resurrected the gardener. The implication is clear. They're saving her. But that act of mercy could have massive consequences. If the aliens heal Mitsuki, she might form a deeper psychic connection with them, one that could blur the line between human and alien forever. It's possible that in the next episode, Mitsuki will awaken fundamentally changed, physically or mentally linked to the gardeners. And if that happens, humanity's most dangerous weapon against the aliens could become their greatest ally instead. Our nerdy thoughts. Episode 8 is slow, philosophical, and frustratingly vague at times, but it's also the most thematically rich chapter of the season so far. It reframes the invasion not as a war of conquest, but as an ecological and existential crisis. The gardeners represent creation and renewal, while humanity represents fear and resistance. Mitsuki stands right in between those two forces, torn between duty and empathy. If the gardeners truly revive her, Episode 9 could explore what it means to become part of the hive willingly, not as a prisoner, but as a bridge between species. And that might be the only way to end this war, not by destroying the aliens, but by understanding them.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.